Journey, Rod Stewart, Tom Petty. Mitch Michaels has met them all, and then some. In his new book, the radio personality details his fondest memories working a career in rock and roll radio that spans nearly half a century. 630's Kevin Machak has more on this disc jockey from 95.9 The River.
Jody Jett and the Blackhearts just before that. Mitch Michaels just getting started. Going to school at Kent State, driving home from a rather unsatisfactory result of a midterm, and this guy comes on the radio and goes, "Do you hate what you're doing? Did you just fail a test?" And I'm like, he just kept talking, you know. And it was an ad for a radio school.
Mitch Michaels ended up going to that school in Washington, D.C., learning the basics of radio in just about 5 months. It wasn't long before he landed his first on-air gig in Cleveland in 1970 at 22 years old. A year later, he moved to Chicago, where he would work for nearly 50 years at many different stations. You can now catch him on 95.9 The River, hosting his weekday drive time show from 3 in the afternoon to 7 at night.
John Kay and Steppenwolf, of course. Great two-wheeler song.
Initially, I thought this was going to be really cool to have such a radio legend come into our radio station, somebody that's, you know, people who listen to the radio, people who turn to the radio for their music news and things going on. He's a voice and a name that a lot of people recognize.
My show is music-oriented. What I like to inject into it is energy.
Pleased to meet you.
Rolling Stones, of course. Looking for what we're all looking for, a little sympathy at that point in time. You know, some people start to fade as the afternoon goes. You know, we all work hard and whatever else. And I'm getting people home. Music from the Great American Band, of course, on 95.9 The River. I've got a lot of musical knowledge from all the years in the business, so I'm able to throw a few stories out there and do anecdotes and things like that as well.
More anecdotes can be found in his new memoir, Doing the Cruise, a lifetime of memories in radio and rock and roll.
One of the main stage headliners in 1980 at Chicago Fest was Alice Cooper.
In it, he shares stories from throughout his career, like the time he convinced a young Rod Stewart to reconsider which song would be the single off his album, Every Picture Tells a Story.
The single from the album was Reason to Believe, and I said, you should tell your record company that maybe the flip side was the song that, because that's the one we're getting all the requests for, and that was Maggie May.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you.
He goes, "Hey, jump in the limo with me, come back to the hotel, I'll buy you a drink at the bar."
Should be back at school.
Sure enough, Maggie May became a huge hit, and 22 years later, when Rod Stewart was a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in 1993,
Rod sings a song, sits down, they're going back and forth and talking and whatever else. And Jay goes, "You're going to sing Reason to Believe next, right?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "That was the flip side of Maggie May." And Rod goes,
"This was the B-side to the A-side to Maggie May in 1971, and a disc jockey in Cleveland, I believe, turned it over, and otherwise I'd have still been digging graves."
I was shocked. It was like, wow. Obviously, that made enough of an impression on him, you know, that he at least remembered me as the disc jockey from Cleveland that said, "Hey, flip that song over." Was fortunate enough to do a couple interviews with Tom Petty, one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. Very easygoing, very forthcoming, easy to talk to. It was very sad to see him pass at such a young and still very vital age.
In America too.
Any of us can get on the air and talk about Journey or talk about John Mellencamp or Pat Benatar, but he actually has stories about these people. He's hung out with them, he's partied with them, he's done other things with them that I can't really say.
In his book, Michaels also opens up about his personal life, including 3 failed marriages and the loss of his 21-year-old son to prescription drug abuse.
That is something that if I could help one other family maybe come to grips with the fact that their child has a problem and save them, that would be, you know, a great victory.
Through it all, Michaels says it's the opportunity to play music that transcends generations.
I've got kids and grandkids that you know who Steve Miller is or like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones.
and connects him to listeners that's been a dream come true for decades.
The audience can feel how much I love the music, how much I love being on the radio. It's for me, it's, you know, it's what it is. I love it, you know, and the old adage, find something you love and pursue it, and you'll never work a day in your life.
And if you ask this almost 70-year-old radio personality about retirement, well, he'll tell you he won't back down.
I'm having a lot of fun. Why would I not want to come in here and do this if I'm enjoying myself and people seem to enjoy what I'm doing? I have no real desire to retire. So, you know, I'm here until they throw me out.